On this episode of 419 by Design, we'll pull out some scraps from the wood pile and make this cool flag. Also, we'll work on this highly custom piece. All that and more on this episode of 419 by Design.
All right, so I have this pile of cherry that we have not been able to sell for years. It's been here, I don't know exactly, 3, 4, 5 years. We've had it out for sale, put it out in the parking lot, big cardboard signs on it. No one's gonna buy it. The reason they don't wanna buy it is because it's cherry, but it's red on one side, it's white on the other, which, okay, you think, what's so bad about that? The problem is it's also bent. So like, this is 2 foot, there's an 1/8 inch gap in the middle. So these are bent really bad. So if you're gonna build a piece of furniture, anything, a cabinet door, they're not gonna work very well. So we've been playing around, trying to figure out how to sell it. And the only thing we've done so far is we've glued up a panel. And as you see, we alternate the red and the white because that has to compensate for the bends. So we can only glue them up this way, which that's okay, but if you're wanting to make something out of cherry and you've got regular cherry, which is nice and red, both sides, that's what typically you'd see. That's what you want when you buy cherry, not this stripe effect. So we looked at this and we saw the striping and we thought, what if we make this into an American flag? Let's try it, you know, put some stripes together, see if we can find all white, all red, put them together. So we're gonna dig this pile out. It's way down here on the bottom, full of dust. We're gonna dig that out and see if we can find enough stripes to glue up an American flag. Let's dig this stuff out and see what we can find. All right, so I dug my pile of wood out, and as you can see, these things are pretty twisty, which is why we're trying to do what we can do. So I printed off a picture of a flag, just to give me an idea of how many stripes, different colors I need. So I need 3 longs and 3 shorts of red and white. So I see a bunch of red ones right here on top, which we can probably use for our long pieces. I can get 2 out of there. I can easily get 2 out of here. And we're gonna take 1 more just in case. So that'll cover my reds. Now we need the white. So here's one I can get 2 out of. I think I can get 2 more out of here, which will cover all my long ones. And my little short ones are gonna be 2 foot or so. So we get 2 there, probably get 2 here. Those will be for the whites. And this one is good right here. We can cut this off, get 2 whites out of there. And that should be enough, because we can just pick any old red ones, put the part with the stars, because the stars I want to keep all red. I don't want those to be white at all. So now we got to take them to the other side and get them cut up and start making some stripes. So I've got my pieces rough to length. Now I'm going to rip them into all the different widths to make up the stripes. So my stripes are going to be 1.92 inches wide. So now rip them all together, and after that we'll be ready to start gluing it all together. Got them? Looks good, right? Okay, we got it. So now that we've ripped them into stripes, you can really see the bend that we have in these boards. And where these stick up and where these are sticking up, when we clamp these, we gotta get these down and we gotta get these down and get them to stay while the glue sets. And that's gonna be a challenge, especially these short ones. This is gonna be fun when we get to the gluing part.
All right, would-be woodworkers, can you guess what species of wood this is? Is it A, northern red oak, B, Hawaiian curly koa, or C, teak? The answer to that and so much more coming up on 419 by Design. Welcome back. If you recognize this species of wood as Hawaiian curly koa, you're right. Over at the other side of the shop, owner Ken Spitulski is working on another highly custom project.
We had a customer bring this curve piece in, or this cove piece. He did new flooring in his motorhome, so he's got a corner he's got to wrap this around pretty tight. So he brought a little blueprint in that shows the corner of the actual cabinet, which is really small. So I transferred some lines off of this piece of molding on here so we can figure out what radiuses we got. So then I transferred that onto this piece of wood, and I've got the radiuses now on here that represent the cove and the little flat here, and I had to build it up thicker so the router bit's got something to ride on. So the first thing I think we got to do is rough saw this out on a bandsaw and then sand to that line. Then we're ready to clamp this in a vise. That's why I use the bigger board here to hold it in place. And from there we can route it. Then we got to do some additional bandsaw work and some more sanding. And then we got to cut the thing apart. I've got this piece stuck on with double-face tape. So we've got a large piece here just to hold it in a vise. So now we got to start cutting it out and fitting it together.
Time to head over to the bandsaw.
Now we're ready to sand next.
Then it's time for Ken to head over to the belt sander and then grab the router.
I think we got her. So we've got this curve routed in here now, so now we got to come in here and bandsaw this. We got to stay away from that line just a little bit down to here, and then we're going to come in with the spindle sander and sand up to the line. So then we're going to have to break this piece, cut this piece off, but all we're going to end up with is just a little short piece right here when we're done. So we're ready to cut it apart.
This is a critical cut. If this little tiny piece gets broken, all Ken's hard work is lost.
Now we can go back and sand this inside corner here.
After Ken hits the piece with a spindle sander, there's just one more thing to deal with.
Hey Trace, come take a quick peek at this. I think this piece on the bottom is no longer serving any purpose for us. Now might be the time to try to pry it off before we cut it free, because we can get in
Pry,
here.
I'll cross my fingers. It doesn't
All
break.
right, well, let me hold it. I'll let you do that, because if it breaks, it's your fault.
I get to do the hard part.
So just let me get it down and support it and see how it's going.
It's already loose.
Yeah, it's all right, you can cut your finger. All right, that came off pretty good. Now all we have to do is clean a little residue off, and we're ready to cut it free.
Not drop it.
And not drop it, right.
And now it's time for the moment of truth, to see if all of Ken's hard work is paid off, and if this custom molding piece will fit his customer's RV flooring.
Let's see how it's going to line up.
Got it all
Hold on
cut.
that piece there. Pretty good. There's tiny pieces it is.
Oh, that's good. I say ship it.
Yeah. Down at the floor, nobody will see it.
You'll probably break it with the back.
That's true. Maybe after a second one. Yeah, it came out good.
I think it's a small sewing.
And look, we still got our fingers.
Today's shop tip is going to be, if you're going to build your own flag, a few ideas on how you make it to the proper scale. President Eisenhower signed an executive order when he was president that explained each detail of the flag so they would all look the same when you were building it. So you wouldn't have one that was way out of whack, or they all need to look like the American flag, just like you see the ones flying on all the flagpoles. And it all starts with the overall width. Once you determine how wide you want to make the flag, all the parameters will tell you the overall length, the stripes, the stars, the union. It gives you everything so they come out looking just like a flag. So once you have the width of your flag determined, there's a way you can find all the other dimensions of the flag thanks to Executive Order 10834 signed by President Eisenhower in 1959. The width of my flag is 25 inches. So to determine the length of the flag, you multiply 25 by 1.9. That gave me the dimensions of my flag for being 47 inches wide. The next part of the flag I needed to figure out was the union. The width of the union is 25 times 0.5385. That gave my union width 13.46. The height of the union is 25 times 0.76. That gave me the length of my union of 19. The diameter of the star is 25 times 0.0616, which made my stars 1.54 inches in diameter. And the stripes are 25 multiplied by 0.0769, which gave the width of my stripes as 1.93 inches. Once you have all of that figured out, your flag will look just like a standard American flag that you would see flying on a flagpole. So that's it for today's shop tip, how to measure a flag the proper way.
BCAN.
BCAN.
BCAN. BCAN.
BCAN.
Clamp these.
Welcome back. Let's rejoin Tracy as he finishes up this cherry wood
And
flag.
get them to stay while the glue sets. And that's going to be a challenge, especially these short ones. This is going to be fun when we get to the gluing part. So we've got to glue up our union. So we're going to run all these through our glue roller, put them over in the clamps, Those will be set and dry, and then we're gonna work on getting that bad boy glued up. So let's start with these first. All right, we let this one dry, and then it'll be ready to carve the stars. So now we move on to this big one here. All right, so now we're going to glue up all of our stripes. We've laid them all out. We know which ones are up, which ones are down.
Gluing up these next boards won't be easy. These are the warped boards that Tracy pulled out of the wood pile from the beginning of the show.
Let's go that way. I won't down. All right, go ahead, crank it. That's not bad. Ooh, okay, that's a wrap. That's all right, it's down. That worked, so that was a little bit tricky, but I think we got it.
2 hours later, it's time to check the results of the glue up.
Got everything glued up. Let's take a look at them and see how everything came out. But I think that works. So now we got to take this over, run it through the planer, run it through the sander. All right, so we got everything glued up. We got the union for the stars right here, and we have our stripes. So we're going to run these through both sides through the planer, and then we'll go over to the sander, run through the sander, get both sides all cleaned up.
After planing and sanding, it's time to head over to the CNC machine.
So for our flag, we're gonna carve in the stars. We're gonna use the CNC machine. We're gonna carve in a recessed area to get the real sharp, crisp lines. Then we're gonna take resin, like you see in the river tables, things like that. We're gonna add a little bit of white and fill those in, and then machine it off, and it makes a nice, crisp white star inside our cherry flag. All right, so we're ready to put this thing together. So I got my flag, my stars.
So now it's time for the final glue up. And you guessed it, more sanding.
All right, we got it all sanded. Now we can take it over to the saw and we can cut it to length. We need to cut off both ends to get to our correct length.
Then after a quick trim of the edges, Tracy will grab the router and do a quick bevel of the edges. And then it's time for the final clear oil coat.
Now we're ready to clear coat it and we'll be done. So that's how you, say that again, Jeff? I'm terrible at this part. All right. So today's shop tip, no. Oh my gosh, I cannot transition into the sentence. So that's it for today's shop tip, how to measure a flag the proper way.